Hey everybody, it's Emily, your friendly neighborhood librarian here. Today we're going to be working on our air plant terrarium. So thank you so much for joining us for our first team take and make craft, and let's get started. So before we get started putting together our terrariums, we're going to talk about air plants. Yes, they most definitely are. This is a real living plant. It's got leaves and it's got a little tiny root there, and it is very much alive. Air plants, or Tillandsia, grow floating in the air, kind of, where they live and thrive without needing any soil. They're part of the bromeliad family and known as epiphytes, which are plants that attach themselves to other plants for support without relying on the host plant for any nutrients or moisture. They absorb nutrients and moisture through their leaves rather than their roots. You don't see much of a root there, like a normal plant. The root, it just serves to attach itself to its host. In the wild, they may cohabitate with a tree or find a home on a rock. At home, they're not so picky about where they live, so we're going to be putting them in these cool glass balls, but they can also live on something as small as a wine cork. There are more than 600 species of shapes, sizes, forms, and colors, and they make some really cute home decorations. As we discussed at the beginning of this video, you do have a selection of items that you can use or not use. If you want to do something just as simple as taking your little plant and putting it inside your little ball, you can do that. Or you can use the items that we've provided to sort of decorate things a little bit. So I do have a little bit of Elmer's glue and some cool little netting stuff in your bag. And what I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to take it and I'm going to drape it across one side. So I'm going to use my Elmer's glue and I'm going to put a dot at the top of my ball and sort of drape it across and down one side, just for some visual interest. So once you have your rope netting on the sides of the glass, sort of mostly where you want it, I would give it a couple of minutes to dry before you do this next part, just so you don't accidentally pull it down. For the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take your little bit of reindeer moss, which is just sort of a dehydrated moss that has been dyed. I've got blue, but there's green, there's yellow, there's a couple of shades of green and yellow, and a really pretty brown that I saw in your bags. I'm just going to go ahead and put my moss down in the bottom here. Once again, like this just gives it a little bit of color and it gives your air plant sort of a base to hang out on. And it feels really weird. So there you go. I've got my little bit of moss in there. Now I'm going to place a couple of my shells because I want to put like the bigger ones in the back behind the plant so that we can see them and they don't cover anything up. So I've got this big guy here and I'm going to put it right in the back, straight sort of in the middle. But again, you can put yours wherever you want them. You can put yours wherever you want them, and feel free to not use any of these things if you're not interested in using them. That's totally okay too. I think I'm going to take my little curly guy and put him in here too. And maybe this little one kind of in front. Remember that you can see around your glass all the way around it, so you can put stuff on any side that you like. It's not going to get covered up. Once you have your shells kind of placed where you want them, this might be like one too many shells in here. Once you have your shells kind of placed where you want them, you can go ahead and take your little air plant and stick it on in. There you go. And I have one more thing I'm going to add. I have a very cute little starfish, and you should have one of these in your bag too. And I'm going to go and put him like right in the front because I want to see him really well. There. There's your very own air plant terrarium. You have a piece of twine that you can use to hang it if you have somewhere to hang it from. There's a little loop in the top of your glass there. You can also just let it rest on its flat bottom on a tabletop somewhere. Remember, you want to keep it in bright indirect sunlight, so nothing super bright. Don't hang it in your window if you have a west or east facing window. That'll be too much for it. And I like to mist mine. My house is pretty dry, so I like to mist mine every other day or so, and they seem to do pretty well. So thank you very much for joining us for this really cool project. I hope you enjoy yourselves, and I can't wait to see what you make of our cool terrarium. Join us next month for our next project. I'll let you know what it is soon. Thanks. Bye.